Parliament debates landmark cannabis bills. New tonight, we'll tell you the legislation that makes way for medical use but imposes restrictions for children, teens, and pregnant women. Plus, a shocking crime as a Grand Bahama man faces 2 charges of child pornography. Plus, we'll tell you the upcoming road closures for night repairs in New Providence, how the Works Minister says it aims to ease high traffic in the capital. Then in Our News at 7:30, Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell rebukes international press over missing American Taylor Casey coverage, bending the Bahamas' reputation. Our News live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. We apologize for the late start. Parliament is currently debating a groundbreaking set of laws that will establish a regulated system for the medicinal and religious use of cannabis. The transformative bills propose removing cannabis from the list of dangerous drugs that include provisions to expunge the records of individuals convicted of possessing 30 grams of or less of marijuana. Leading the charge in today's debate, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville, who emphasized medical cannabis will be strictly off limits for children, teenagers, and pregnant women, except in extraordinary circumstances.
We have taken great care to consider the potential risks and impacts of these vulnerable populations and the health risks associated with its use in these groups. We know that there will be special exceptions, however, stringently monitored by the Ministry of Health and Wellness and our Chief Medical Office. Because if you search the literature, there is evidence, solid evidence.
The new bills will legalize medicinal cannabis prescriptions for cancer, HIV and AIDS, multiple sclerosis, epilepsy, PTSD, autism, sickle cell anemia, anxiety, depression, and more. Dr. Darville highlighting the demand for medical cannabis, noting that people frequently seek permission to import it for health conditions. The legislation will also allow the Rastafarian community to use marijuana as a sacrament. Despite government praise, the opposition has raised concerns. Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright questioned the Bahamian to foreign investment ratio in the industry and pointed out the omission of edibles, as previously emphasized by the Pharmaceutical Association.
The BPA recommends that the bill and regulations should define edible as an oral formulation of medical cannabis and state that anything produced or packaged edible ought to be compliant with the standards indicated for a finished pharmaceutical formulation packaging. This will protect the patients by having clear labels and aid practitioners who wish to prescribe this formulation for their patients. This is critical to address if the government is serious about instituting a medical cannabis system and not allowing for improper diversion of cannabis.
And as we said, the Rastafarian community remains skeptical about today's cannabis legislation debate, with High Priest Richmond McKinney telling Our News that members of his community agree with 85%, but still have some reservations. We've got more on those concerns coming up in Our News at 7:30. 41-year-old Grand Bahama man Edwin Bald was arraigned on child pornography charges and will spend some time behind bars. Bald appeared before Magistrate LaQuay Lang, facing charges of receiving and distributing pornography and inciting a child to be involved in it. He was not required to enter a plea. Bail was denied. He's been remanded until September 26th. And 28-year-old Drexel Frazier was denied bail after being accused of nearly fatally stabbing Wellington Bethel. Frazier appeared before Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley on charges of attempted murder from a July 10th bar incident on Soldier Road. He did not enter a plea and is expected back in court on October 10th to be indicted. Well, if you've been out late at night, you may have noticed certain roadways blocked or closed off entirely, and it's all reportedly due to road repairs happening across New Providence. Works Minister Clay Sweeting emphasizing that with the heavy traffic in the capital, these repairs are essential and timely.
When you look at the overall plan for roadworks in New Providence, you can see that with we have been doing is what we can to ensure that traffic management and not to frustrate too many persons on the road. But at the end of the day, when the roads are constructed and people have nice roads, they'll be happy.
The ministry notifying motorists in advance about upcoming road works, some of which you can find right on our social media platforms. And here's where they are currently working in case you missed it.
We should be doing, I think we announced around Fusion. We should be paving that in the next 3 units through the night. We pave West Bay Street in the evening when not too many persons on the road. So we do take into account people driving on the road and try to do some of these major projects too in the summer months where school is out. And that time she'll have some frustration in that regard. But if you look at Nassau and the amount of paving that's being done, we're minimizing roads that hasn't been corrected in a long time.
All right, to keep up with upcoming and ongoing road work, be sure and stay tuned to Our News Bahamas on Facebook. We've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Kendine, and a happy Monday evening, everybody. A humid day around the islands. We had some isolated showers earlier, maybe even an isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the Big Yard. Be sure that in our radar system right now. 86 degrees is our current temperature under partly cloudy skies. East-northeast winds at 12 miles per hour. It feels like temperature factoring the relative humidity. It feels like a very humid and warm 93 degrees. Temperatures around the islands right now, it's 86 in Freeport, Great Harbor Key, and in Nicholstown, Andros. We pick up 85 Alistown, Bimini. 84 is Marshall, Babaco, Governors Harbor. Down in the central Bahamas, 85 Kemps Bay, Georgetown. Well, actually, all the locations there are. Town, Cat Island, Cooper Town, San Salvador, and in Deadman's Key, Long Island. And into the southeast Bahamas, temperatures are also in the mid-80s here with 85s most locations. Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, Abrams Bay, you guys are 84, 85 Matthew Town, Inagua, and our neighbors to the southeast, Turks and Caicos Islands, you guys are 86 at this hour. Satellite radar composites showing a northern extent of a tropical wave, triggering some showers mainly across the central Bahamas. Some of those are showers now moving into Florida Straits. Most of the activity will be moving towards the west, all associated with this tropical wave. In the meantime, high pressure will be building across us. That will continue to generate some rather hot and stable conditions over the next couple of days. And we also have some Saharan dust moving in across our area. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. Look at the extended forecast is still to come.
Thanks, Greg. And still to come on Our News, how the Foreign Affairs Ministry is confronting challenges in its diplomatic return to Haiti. Plus, from a rising national basketball star turning pro to a season-high jumper excelling internationally, our sports at 7, brought to you by 10th Year Seniors premieres when Our News returns.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs faces a new challenge as it works to resume operations in Haiti. Earlier this year, the Bahamian delegation, including Charge d'Affaires Captain Godfrey Roll and his security detail, evacuated due to ongoing violence and unrest by gangs, with their departure completing in late May. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell has expressed the country's intent to re-establish its diplomatic presence there. However, he says they've encountered a roadblock.
We have a bit of a problem because the owner of the building wants to sell the building that we're in, so we have to hunt around for new premises. Defense Force officers are part of the security detail for the diplomatic mission in Haiti, and so they go in advance to reconnoiter and decide on a place, and then the diplomats will return. So that's as far as I can say now.
Government has expressed its intention to send Bahamian troops to Haiti, specifically Defense Force officers, to assist with maritime training efforts on the ground. Minister Mitchell says government is following Kenya's lead on this.
The Kenyans are just now on the ground. They are the ones who are in operational control and command. So the question of what the mission is and the specifics of it would have to be left to them, and the relationship between the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and the Kenyans.
And we are happy to introduce our newest element to our 7 o'clock broadcast, Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th year seniors. Tonight, we take a look at a rising national basketball star turning pro to a seasoned high jumper excelling internationally. Here's Ronaldo and John Mark with a look at what's coming up in the premiere of Our Sports at 7.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt.
What's better than one 10YS segment? 2.
Let's do show. An added benefit of an increased spotlight on Bahamas basketball, players overseas are getting paid. Sammy Hunter and Aaron Lavarity both signed with new clubs this week. Hunter will make his pro debut in Kosovo with Trepka Basket.
Where's Sammy gone far?
I've traveled a lot, and I've seen basketball from all walks of life and met a lot of people on my journey, and a lot of people from different places, and I just take the advice from them and what I've learned and just apply it in my career. It's basketball at the end of the day, and now I'm getting paid to do what I love to do, so I'm happy.
While Lavarity still remains in France, but progresses to the Pro B League.
We hear about LeBron James breaking barriers at his age. But how about Donald Thomas? Donald Thomas continues to compete at a high level and finished 3rd overall in the weekend in Germany.
Only jumper in the field to play 21 Savage.
40-year-old Donald Thomas is set to compete in his 5th Olympic Games next month.
While we're on the Olympics, we'll find out the official list of names for Team Bahamas when the BOC announces its roster tomorrow night. In true Bahamian fashion, of course it'll be a reception, and that will take place at the Andre Rogers National Stadium at 6 p.m. That'll do it for Our Sports. This is 10YS. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more. Back to the studio.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as the assassination attempt on a former U.S. president is investigated. This as regional governments condemn the attack. And we'll tell you the mechanical issues that prompted 2 Delta Airlines flights to divert. When Our News returns.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be extra.
What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you live?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need you 25 cents no more.
Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. U.S. authorities are investigating how a shooter managed to get onto a roof near former President Donald Trump and opened fire at a rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday. The gunman, Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, fired multiple shots, injuring Trump and killing a spectator before being killed by Secret Service agents. President Joe Biden condemned the violence in a national address. Despite the attack, Trump arrived in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention, where he will be nominated for the 2024 presidential election. Enhanced security measures are said to be in place. Meanwhile, Caribbean governments strongly condemned the attempted assassination of the former president. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Keith Rowley, alongside regional leaders, denounced political violence. Still to come on. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Terence Drew condemned the act, calling for global unity against violence. Belize's Foreign Affairs Ministry labeled it an attack on U.S. democracy. And 2 Delta Airlines flights faced mechanical issues over the weekend, leading to diversions, as confirmed by the Federal Aviation Administration on Monday. Flight 927 from Jackson Hole to Atlanta diverted to St. Louis due to cabin pressure problems. Passengers were unharmed and rebooked on a later flight. Delta Flight 1950 bound for St. Thomas returned to Atlanta for a mechanical issue reported by the crew. Passengers in this case were safely reaccommodated. Still to come on Our News, Today in History, find out interesting facts about the day that was July 15th. Then in Our News at 7:30, the Tourism Ministry reassures visitors amid the search for a missing American. This as the minister says he anticipates record-breaking arrival numbers. Plus, Eleuthera residents to get relief from water and power shortages as the minister confirms work to begin this week. We'll tell you the area is expected to get help first when Our News returns.
I would just like to send a special shout out to Chances, because if it wasn't for them.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here, whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun. Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
On this day in Bahamian history in 1732, Woodes Rogers, the first royal governor of the Bahamas, died in Nassau, serving 2 terms, first in 1718 to 1721 and again in 1728 to 1732. He expelled pirates and established the House of Assembly in 1729. He died 1 year after returning from a health retreat in Charleston, North Carolina. In 2013, Kevin "Kevy Kev" McKenzie, a prominent Bahamian gospel singer, passed away at 51 after battling colon cancer. Known for his contributions to gospel music, McKenzie released his first album in the 1980s. July 15, 2018, 5 South Floridians of Bahamian descent were honored in Miami for their contributions to the community. The celebration was part of the Bahamas' 45th independence anniversary events. Mayor Eric H. Jones Thelma Gibson, and Garth C. Reeves were among those recognized. And in 2023, the Bahamas Games were held for the first time since 2001, celebrating the 50th year of independence. New Providence won the most medals with 211 in total, while Grand Bahama won the most gold medals, a total of 91. All right, Alive is in its 8th year as a major sponsor of the highly anticipated Goombay Summer Festival. It's expected to return this week and will take place across multiple islands. General Manager of Mobility Sales and Loyalty at Cable Bahamas Group of Companies, Rory Major, telling us the importance for Alive to be a part of this iconic summer festival.
We are a Bahamian-owned company, 100%, right? But it's one thing to say that you're a Bahamian-owned company, but you have to support Bahamian cultural events throughout the island so they can feel that we're not just taking from an island, but rather giving to that island and giving to the government, especially with this Goombay Festival. You know, it supports tourists, it supports locals and local cuisine and so forth. And that's what Alive and Alive Fiber is about. It's about we are Bahamian. We don't just say it, we show it by sponsoring events like this.
And hey, the Free Admission Festival takes place in New Providence on July 26th, August 9th, August 16th from Fort Charlotte Street and ending outside of Sun, Sand, and Souvenir on East Bay Street. But of course, the family-friendly festival is not only for New Providence. Tourism Minister Chester Cooper says festival promises family islands will not be left out.
The beauty of Goombay 2024, as I mentioned, is that no island will be left out. We're not going to be Nassau-centric, and there is a complete calendar on Bahamas.com and on Tourism Today. So get ready, Grand Bahama, Exuma, Abaco, Eleuthera, Harbour Island, Andros, Cat Island, San Salvador, Bimini, and Long Island. Goombay is coming your way too.
All right, Goombay is back. If you want to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. It's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Marlena Leonard in for Talia Hall with the latest headlines. Marlena, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Good to have you back in the chair.
Thank you.
And I think you were covering that Goombay story. Are you a Goombay fan?
You know,
I was supposed to go last year. I didn't get to make it, but are you?
That's the thing. I've always wanted to go. I only ever hear good things. I've just never made it out there before. But today, if today's taste of what it's going to be like was anything like what it actually is, you're definitely going to catch me there this year.
All right.
I don't know which day, but I'll be there.
I will take your word for it.
Thanks, Ken. Well, the tourism ministry reassuring visitors amid the search for missing American woman. Plus, Eleuthera residents to get relief from water and power shortages. Here are your latest headlines. Tonight on Our News. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, fact-checking the foreign press. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs pushing back against critical international coverage of the search for Taylor Casey, claiming there were a number of material misstatements. And as the search for Taylor Casey continues, tourism numbers are up. The tourism minister says he doesn't sense any nervousness about safety when it comes to those summer visitor numbers. Meanwhile, history in the making. As the cannabis bills debated in Parliament today continue to pave the way for the future of medical marijuana in the Bahamas, the health minister saying it won't be for children, teens, or pregnant women. And later, concerns remain, as members of the Rastafarian community say they still have reservations about certain aspects of the cannabis bill, and that questions remain unanswered. All that and more when Our News Live at 7:30 returns.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
What you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house of building for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off and the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task, unplugging appliances not in use. That's energy conservation. Replacing an old refrigerator, washing machine with a new model, adding insulation to the attic and walls of a home. That's energy efficiency. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucayas Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucayas Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. The Lucayas Solar Project is a pivotal step towards diversifying the country's energy sources and significantly reducing dependency on fossil fuels. It's more than just a project. It's a commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. Lucayas Solar.
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Marlena Leonard. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell slamming comments made in international press originating from Chicago about the disappearance of 42-year-old Taylor Casey, who was last seen at a yoga retreat on Paradise Island over 3 weeks ago. The ministry releasing a press statement over the weekend, noting, quote, "There are a number of material misstatements in the press about this matter, attributed to various spokespersons of the family. The facts, as they are now established, do not bear the interpretations which are being described in the U.S. media and being advanced by spokespersons for the missing person," end quote. Speaking to reporters before the House of Assembly this morning, Mitchell says it's government's job to defend the country's name.
This particular instance you're addressing took place in the foreign media for our consulates to address these misstatements. The Royal Bahamas Police Force has done a transparent job with regard to this investigation, and you have to ensure that statements are not made that prejudice that reputation for transparency and thoroughness.
This comes after Casey's family held a press conference in Chicago criticizing local police efforts in finding Taylor, along with concerns over the investigation of former officer in charge of the Criminal Investigations Department, Michael Johnson. Mitchell says while he understands the family's frustration, he says the Royal Bahamas Police Force is doing its job.
We understand the grief of people this is a very unfortunate incident. But the Royal Bahamas Police Force has performed transparently throughout. And I think that's important to let people overseas know that it is a transparent organization and that it has performed well.
And amidst the ongoing search for the American visitor, the Ministry of Tourism is hard at work to curb any potential anxiety around visiting the Bahamas. In fact, according to officials, we're currently on track to break last year's record-breaking arrival numbers. Let's take a look. The Bahamas is still seeing record tourism numbers this summer despite the ongoing search for missing American visitor Taylor Casey. That's according to Minister of Tourism and Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper.
I don't sense any nervousness, quite frankly. When we have these situations, our focus really is on the family, trying to quell some of the anxiety, praying for them and hoping for the best possible outcome. We don't get into the details of the investigation as a matter for the police.
He says the Ministry of Tourism has worked to focus on the messaging for the country.
We try to stay very focused on telling the world who we are, sending a message that the Bahamas is a safe and welcoming, hospitable place to visit. And that's a message that we're at every day reinforcing.
Cooper tells us the numbers demonstrate potential visitors are getting that message. More than that, Cooper says the country is projected to surpass the record-setting numbers of 2023.
At the end of May, we were 13-14% ahead overall. We're anticipating this trend is going to continue. We're attracting 1 million a month on average, and if this average holds by the end of the year, we would have a 12 million arrivals. We're excited about this, not just because of the number itself, but because of the impact on the economy, money in the pockets of vendors and retailers and entrepreneurs.
A 24-year-old man is behind bars after he was accused of rape. Prosecutors say Tyrese Boodle raped a 19-year-old woman at an island near Paradise Island on July 6th. Boodle was not required to enter a plea when he stood charged before the Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley today. Bail was denied and Boodle returns to court on October 10th to receive voluntary bill of indictment papers. And relief is reportedly on the way for residents of Eleuthera who've been enduring water and power shortages for quite some time. According to the Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs, materials and infrastructure are now in place. Joshua Williams tells us that work is expected to begin this week.
The persistent issue of low water pressure and sometimes no water at all in parts of central and south Eleuthera has plagued the community for some time. Works and Family Island Affairs Minister Clay Sweeting says the government is now stepping in.
Last week, the Water Sewage Corporation were able to get the piping that they was waiting on to complete the 1 million gallon imperial gallon tank there in Governor's Harbor to help increase storage capacity there. So the piping is on the ground and they should start work this week.
And just which areas will experience relief first?
From Gregorytown to Savannah Sound, which was the area that was without water for some time, around 14 to 16 days, so a few weeks ago. So this should help to alleviate that. That part is being done by Water and Sewage, not by the contractor.
In a recent statement, the government harshly criticized Aqua Design Bahamas Limited, the company contracted to supply water for its inadequate and unacceptable work on the island, and promised to revisit that contract. Sweeting says,
I remember prior to the last election, when the contract was renewed, they was having issues with water back then. So what needs to be done is going to be done by the Water Sewage Corporation, Minister Lundy, to ensure that this doesn't continue.
And as for electricity issues on the island,
we have a lot of overhead maintenance that BPL has started to do now. They have some new bucket trucks on the ground to correct these legacy issues. It doesn't correct the immediate woe in regards to reliable electricity, but we have a focused plan to get that done.
While understanding the frustrating age-old issue, the Eleuthera-born and raised Member of Parliament had this to say to residents.
I think I share with their frustration because, as their representative they elected me to ensure that I fight on their behalf, even though sometimes you don't have carriage over the frustration, but you try to continue to fight to make it right.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Well, we had a sunny start to the week today, despite some showers in the morning. And meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center for your first look at weather. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Marlene, and a happy Monday evening, everybody. Humid day around the islands. Isolated showers were in the forecast earlier. Most of the activity moving into the Florida Straits. But it is still very warm and humid on the outside. 86 degrees is our current temperature. East-northeast winds. We got a little bit of a breeze, 12 miles per hour. And that's kind of making it feel still like a very warm and humid 93 degrees. Satellite radar composites showing we have some showers and isolated thunderstorms, all associated with the northern extent of a tropical wave that's continuing to slide towards the west. Most of the activity in the central Bahamas, Ragged Island chain getting some showers, Andros as well, but most of the thunderstorm activity now moving into the Florida Straits. The system will continue to push towards the west. High pressure builds in, and then we expect some Saharan dust over the next couple of days. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, we're learning more about the compendium of legislation hoping to bring medical marijuana to the table. including the restrictions like the ones that will be applied to children, teenagers, and pregnant women. And the Rastafarian community speaking out, saying they're not 100% sold on the cannabis bills. We'll tell you their concerns. And later, our Emerging Bahamian series continues tonight as our Sasha Lightbourne sits down with Lincoln Deal to talk his vision for food sustainability and his company, Eden Farms. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task, unplugging appliances not in use. That's energy conservation. Replacing an old refrigerator, washing machine with a new model, adding insulation to the attic and walls of a home. That's energy efficiency. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucaya Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucaya Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. The Lucaya Solar Project is a pivotal step towards diversifying the country's energy sources and significantly reducing dependency on fossil fuels. It's more than just a project. It's a commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. Lucaya Solar Power Limited, powered by Inti. Powering your world, powering your future.
Parliament debating a compendium of legislation that will create a controlled system for cannabis use for medical and religious purposes. The bills will remove cannabis from the list of dangerous drugs and allow for the expungement of records for individuals convicted of the possession of 30 grams or less of marijuana. As he led the debate on the cannabis-related bills today, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville said that medical cannabis will not be used for children, teenagers, and pregnant women except for in special situations.
We have taken great care to consider the potential risks and impacts of these vulnerable populations and the health risks associated with its use in these groups. We know that there will be special exceptions, however, stringently monitored by the Ministry of Health and Wellness and our Chief Medical Office. Because if you search the literature, there is evidence, solid evidence.
The Rastafarian community is still not 100% sold on cannabis legislation debated in Parliament today. High Priest Rithman McKinney says they only agree with 85% of what's proposed, adding they still have reservations. One concern questioned if someone whose records were expunged for possession of marijuana will be allowed to participate in the industry. Another issue was the cultivation fees.
That's something we're still planning to do as the government moving forward. As we know, it's not passed as yet, so we will be determined now to really see how best we could be satisfied with all factions of the bill.
As he opened debate on the compendium of cannabis-related legislation, Health and Wellness Minister Michael Darville said medical cannabis will not be used for children, teenagers, and pregnant women. As mentioned, the bills will remove cannabis from the list of dangerous drugs and allow for the expungement of records for individuals convicted of the possession of 30 grams or less of marijuana. Meanwhile, the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association says all concerns with the bills were resolved. A few of their concerns, according to President Dr. Marvin Smith, include having cannabis dispensers operate independently of pharmacies and a comprehensive training program for them.
We felt that having 5 or more facilities being overseen by one pharmacist just wasn't feasible, and it really didn't make any sense. We felt that that number should be closer to 3. We needed some minimum standards for cannabis dispensers. And it couldn't just simply be you're 25 years old and you don't have a police record.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When Our News comes back from the break, an Our TV Independence special, our Sasha Lightborn talks the vision for food sustainability and his vision for the future of the country with Lincoln Deal, owner of Eden Farms.
Coming up in sports, more national team basketball players sign new pro contracts, and Dom Thomas gears up for his 5th Olympic Games.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here, whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun. Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
The Paradise Hotel.
When can I sell?
Is this what the hotel is really worth?
The kids find themselves on more exciting island adventures.
So stay tuned for some really hot new episodes.
This is 242 the gospel.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I read you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need you 25 cents no more.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. A busy summer for Sammy Hunter will go from international basketball to his first pro contract. Hunter signed with Trepka Basketball Club of the Kosovo Basketball Super League. Trepka, one of the most successful clubs in Kosovo, has won 5 national titles and has appeared in the FIBA Euro Cup.
Feels good to finally be a pro and finally get to what I was working towards. And after having a good summer with the national team, I feel like that helped me a lot, boost my stock, and now I'm a pro officially.
Hunter made the move from St. John's College to BC Christian Academy in Canada, where he was named a BioSteel All-Canadian selection. At the NCAA level, he spent 3 years at Ole Miss, where he played sparingly before transferring to Akron. He had his most productive seasons in his final 2 years with the Zips, where he averaged 8.2 points per game as a junior and a career-high 8.7 points per game as a senior.
So what I did in college, win. It's the one thing I always aspire to do everywhere I go, just win. And I feel we have a good team to do it. Kosovo champions last year, so I feel we have a good team to do it, and we play in a very competitive league and just win. That's what I want to do, just win.
At the national team level, Hunter has been a member of Team Bahamas as both a junior and a senior. As a junior, he competed at the 2016 CBC Championships and Central Basket Under-17 Championships, and as a senior, he's appeared at the America pre-qualifiers and most recently, the Olympic qualifying tournament in Valencia, Spain.
Aaron Lavarity is the second Bahamian to progress from the NM1 League to Pro B in France. Lavarity signed with ALM Everx Basket Europe for the upcoming season, which will be the highest level of his career. Last season with Boulogne, Lavarity had a career year in the NM1 League and earned MVP honors. He averaged 12.3 points and 11.6 rebounds per game. He also led the league in efficiency and double-doubles. Lavarity played collegiately at Milligan College in the NAIA. Following his collegiate career, he also played professionally in Denmark before signing in France in 2022. At the national team level, Lavarity recently suited up for Team Bahamas at the FIBA America qualifiers in a home and away series against Puerto Rico.
Donald Thomas continues to gear up for his 5th appearance as an Olympian and was featured among a field of elite high jumpers at a meet specifically created for their signature event. Thomas finished 3rd at the International Hot Spring meeting in Hellebrunn, Germany over the weekend. His mark of 2.27 meters finished behind Mustas Barshim of Qatar at 2.31 meters and Tobias Pottier of Germany at 2.29 meters. The second edition of the Hot Spring meet featured a field of world-class high jumpers at the Hellebrunn Market Square. Thomas, the former world champion, is currently ranked number 16 on the World Athletics top list and has a season's best of 2.28 meters. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS.
I'd like to officially say that I graduated from the Bahamian citizenship test. It's a great day in my history. Oh, by the way, you got some walking papers.
But I taught 2 of the classes. Back to the studio.
Still ahead on Our News tonight, our stories on emerging Bahamians continue as our Sasha Lightbourne speaks with Lincoln Deal, owner of Eden Farms and vice chairman of the Free National Movement, about his company's plans to revolutionize agriculture and his vision for the country's future. And later, we've seen sunny skies and showers in the capital today, but how will the rest of the week shape up? Greg is back in the Weather Center with your extended forecast in just a moment.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here, whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun. Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
The Paradise Hotel.
When can I sell?
Is this what the hotel is really worth?
The kids find themselves on more exciting island adventures.
So stay tuned for some really hot new episodes.
This is 242 the Gospel.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I right here on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Yeah, thanks again, Marlene, and welcome back, everybody, for a final check at weather. We are still tracking the tropics, so everything is quiet out there. A couple of tropical waves moving across the tropical belt, not showing any organization at this time. One just coming off of Africa, another into the middle Atlantic. Then we have this tropical wave that's approaching the Leeward, Windward Islands, and that will continue to track towards the west. Northern extent of a tropical wave affecting our area with some showers and thunderstorms. But of course, the Caribbean quiet as well as the Gulf of Mexico. But closer to home, that high pressure ridge will continue to jet across us from the Atlantic. That will continue to provide us with some very hot temperatures over the next couple of days. We do have a heat advisory in effect for most of the island chain. Isolated showers expected, but Saharan dust will be moving in. That will contribute to the heat indices over the next several days. Taking a look at our future forecasts, a couple of spotty showers across the area, but it's going to remain quiet. Andros will be the target for most of those showers. Upper level low will be out there in the Atlantic. That will stay to the east of us. And of course, as I mentioned, Saharan dust will be moving in, and that should keep us rather dry over the next several days. Boating forecast, northwest Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. East to southeast winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your high tide is at 10:16 tonight. Low tide at 10:16. High tide takes place at 3:55 in the morning. Central and southeast Bahamas, caution flag in place for you guys down there. Easterly flow at 50 knots, seas running 3 to 5 feet. And of course, if you're doing any beaching, we're asking you beachgoers to exercise caution. There's the slight risk for some rip currents. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, we'll keep a couple of isolated showers in the general forecast, but most of the week we'll see some Saharan dust, stable conditions in place. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s, but we expect nighttime temperatures to be near the 80-degree mark. Of course, as I mentioned, heat advisory is still in place for most of the island chain. That's a look at our weather. Make it a great night and stay safe, everybody.
Thanks, Greg. Well, 51 years of independence have brought the Bahamas through a journey marked by both triumphs and challenges. Our vibrant nation, steeped in a rich and storied culture, stands proud today as a testament to its resilient citizenry. In an upcoming Our TV Independent special, Emerging Bahamians, we highlight the journeys of 5 outstanding Bahamians, plus one, an ode to our country's 51st birthday. Our Sasha Lightborn is the host of the special.
Through economic hardships and natural disasters, the Bahamian spirit has remained resilient from pre-independence to the present. Our people, the backbone of this nation, have undoubtedly driven its remarkable progress over the past 5 decades. Yet one challenge we continue to face is the nation's reliance on food imports. Enter Lincoln Deal. With his vision for food sustainability, his company Eden Farms is set to revolutionize agriculture. His plan? To equip every family island with tech-savvy trailers that promote vertical farming, ensuring food sustainability becomes a reality sooner rather than later.
The reality is we have an issue with soil quality. We're in a hurricane belt. The quality of water is not always the best. And so by now merging technology, we can solve some of those problems, become a bit more efficient, and now tackle food security head on using technology.
And if you don't know, Deal also serves as one of several vice chairmen for the Free National Movement. But you'd be surprised to hear his vision for how the country should evolve over the next 50 plus years.
What I believe, though, the future looks like, I think it starts from now. And I think it starts from what we spoke about earlier, integrating this new generation into the political conversation.
During our one-on-one interview at Margaritaville's JWB restaurant, Deal opened up about his journey to success, offered advice for young people interested in politics, and revealed what defines him as quintessentially Bahamian.
Boy, I jumped off of one cliff inside Long Island into that deep blue hole, and I survived that. I was able to.
In our upcoming independent special, Emerging Bahamians, Deal unveils a more personal side, delving into the joys of fatherhood and the delicate balancing act of his life. His impassioned vision focuses on carrying the baton forward, aiming to feed and elevate our nation to becoming the best little country in the world. Reporting for Our News, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Thanks, Sasha. Well, we just want to apologize for some of those technical difficulties with that story just now, but it is definitely one worth a watch. So if you do want to go back and rewatch it, which I suggest you do, head over to our website, ournews.bs, where you can watch that whole story and everything else you've seen tonight again. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Marlena Leonard. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.